Le sommet international de l'éducation du futur réunit une soixantaine de conférenciers du monde entier. Des pionniers et des innovateurs issus du monde de l'éducation, bien évidemment, mais également des êtres inspirants, issus des chemins de sagesse ou des chemins d'apprentissage et de créativité dans différents domaines. Les arts, les sciences, l'économie, le lien avec la nature, le sport, etc. Des expériences et des chemins de vie qui sont un formidable enrichissement pour le monde de l'éducation. Le professionnalisme des traductions, en simultané, et l'incroyable richesse de toutes ces conférences offrent un horizon de point de vue vaste et varié, très complet, qui en font au final une véritable formation professionnelle pour les enseignants, les éducateurs et tous les professionnels de l'éducation, mais également une formation à la parentalité consciente et une formation individuelle à la vie consciente. Face à toute cette richesse et aux divers retours, nous avons décidé d'offrir toutes ces conférences à tous, partout dans le monde, en français et en anglais, quelquefois en allemand et en espagnol. Découvrez la vision d'acteurs audacieux et influents du changement, vers un monde éthique, solidaire, généreux et profondément respectueux de tous, des cultures, des peuples, des règnes et de la planète. Un incroyable panel de conférences, couvrant toutes les dimensions de l'éducation, pour un futur ayant du sens, une humanité épanouie et une terre qui respire. Une chose est sûre, votre vie, et à travers vous, celle des enfants, ne sera plus la même après avoir écouté toutes ces conférences. Pour avancer, nous avons besoin de vous, nous avons besoin de votre générosité solidaire. L'organisation du sommet et l'édition des conférences ont nécessité des milliers d'heures de travail et nécessitent encore beaucoup de temps et d'investissement. Nous faisons appel aux dons libres et spontanés pour compléter le financement du sommet et, si possible, continuer à l'enrichir de nouvelles conférences. Votre soutien est vraiment précieux et vital pour aller jusqu'au bout de cette aventure extraordinaire. Merci.
I'm very happy to introduce you the children of Voix Libres. I never wanted to do something like that. I just helped about 12 children that were suffering and that were dying at 10 or 15 years old. The fathers died at 33 years old from accidents in the mines. And from this hell, there's 8,000 deaths in these mines that give a lot of richness to Europe, that we could build bridge of silver and gold with all this gold that we stole from there, that massacre this place. It's the shame of the Thank you. She's going a little. So she said it's very sad. But the miracle that is that these 12 children believed in me. The 2 million that we helped, I shouldn't want to make people feel bad. In the beginning, there was only 12 children. And if I could do something like that in my own way, without numbers, it's not the numbers that make us smart. It's not the letters that we learn in the doctorate that make us smart. It's this intelligence from the heart, from the children, this spontaneity that these children show in echo with me, because I'm an artist. I did lots of training at university, but mostly I'm an artist. I sing, I help people liberate with their voice. And I want to tell you something simple, the most beautiful moment of my life. Do you want to tell me? It's right now. Do you want me to tell you it's right now? Don't look anywhere farther. It's the sense of my life. My graphist made a fun drawing that I see with Marianne in the middle, and there's 23 questions. Oh, look at the flowers. Oh, where'd you buy the fruit? Oh, thank you. Yes, the time and place in this present moment. All the moments are right here. All the people we love are in our heart in this moment. There's no time when something is excluded from the time. In the time, I'm as well in Ukraine, in Africa, in Latin America, everywhere. And the place is the same. The only place is the place of our global intelligence, our body, our heart that feels everything, that smells everything. And all we have to do is listen. Voix Libres is a place where we can listen and talk about our suffering. They were 12 and they were at risk to die in the mine. And from them was born a new society model because they did not want to die. They are not dead. They became assistants, social assistant, all kinds of different work. And I remember Juan, who said, what are you going to do this year? The first year, he said, I want to help 5,000 people. And he did it. Because he created libraries in his village. He put drinking water. I remember the inauguration of that day where he got drinking water. There were light bugs everywhere in the mountains. And the drinking water, it wasn't even the people who drank it. It was the animals and the children. It's the children that are thirsty for life. And from these 12 children, we were able to help millions of people because each child had the sense of transmission and the sharing. The child is a place where we welcome and it's a welcoming place. And it's true that Voix Libres is this. I'm in Bolivia because in Bolivia there are family who are hungry and dying. And so I said, come help us. You want a microcredit? You want to help us build something? Come. With the microcredit, it's sure that we have solutions. It's not our fault. It's also what I share when people sing and their voice come first. They come. I can't sing. I sing false. I don't have a voice. My father would put me a rubber band on top of the mouth so I would stop speaking. But the big work is to stop being a victim and to be proactive, to become a leader of its own life, to have all the cards in hand, but putting away the doubt. We could say the doubt knocks on the door. The joy opened its door, but there was nobody there. So to be conscious of all the doubts we put on our way, on our path, to be conscious of all those fears that make us put the fault on the others, to be in a bad mood because we can't express what we need. And if we don't express, then we go in depression. And to heal depression is the endorphins. And when we sing, we have so much endorphins, we can't be sad, and in profound silence too. It's like that in Bolivia. From this really cold, they started making ponchos. The first workshop was in the trash with Carlos that I fought in the in the street. We lived in a tunnel in La Paz for about a month with 100 children that were drinking and using drugs, and they brought me there one night at midnight. I went there every night to talk with them, to sing, to do theater, and to get them out into a house. And Carlos was one of these kids. And one day he tells me, I want to kill myself. Oh, good news, but wait a little, because I have something for you. We have to go to the trash. You know how to make bread. So he came with me in the trash area. He created a bakery. He fell in love with a trash recycler. He had babies. He has 6 kids now. But he did the first sewing and artisan workshop. I remember I was coming back from Bolivia. I had 40 scarves, rainbow scarves. I would wash them with soupline because it smelled bad, and I started selling that. And little by little, there were more. And we became champion of the artisanal with alpaca ponchos that we sold 300 dollars a poncho. 2 containers from Bolivia to Switzerland filled. And all this began in the trash bill. So this is what I look on the people who are the last one and the ones that are left to the side. I always saw them as the first one because they drank the cup till the end. They lived the hell. They were hungry. They were thirsty. They were humiliated, and they don't complain. They're not in victimhood. Oh, they didn't tell me. They didn't help me. No. I remember one time I arrived at the top of a big hill, 4,000 meters high, and there was a woman who suffered 8,000 deaths around them. They lived in holes, and she was half dead. One was dead the day before what happened. She received a stone on her head and she died. And she died. Poof, she died. And I thought, it dies like a fly, nobody knows. And I cried. I'm ashamed. The result of the colonization, they got rich on your back. And the woman said, it's okay, we're together. And we are together. And that's the most important thing. And from this gathering with women, we also received 100 children. And every Saturday, there was about 200, 300 women who came down from the mines who said, I'd like to do an insurance, a medical insurance, a social insurance. So she put her hat and people put money in it. And it was the Solidarity Fund. But we should make less children because we can't nourish them. Okay, we're going to do a big... She created El Condom. El Condor Pasa, El Condom Pasa. With the condoms, they started to protect themselves so they wouldn't have so many babies. And the joy. That's the big secret of Voix Libres. I can't stand being bored. Every second is so important for me. Every minute. That on the weekend I get bored if I don't have passionate things to do. And I think that is this feeling to create extraordinary moments. Somebody comes, yes, madam, what do you want? Wow, madam, wow, you're so beautiful. Yes, but at 75 years old, oh, but you look so young. You want me to show you the place? Look at these flowers. And she's happy, and we have a new friends. Every time you meet someone, it's not it's important for us. I don't have any friends, but look, everyone who's around you. Look who you should talk. Love who you want to love. and stop looking at things that are bothering and that. So to change my story with Carlos that was ready to kill himself, he made a bakery. And today we made a film with him because I'm going to get a big budget from a mairie in Geneva. And they congratulated us for 20 years. They're supporting us. I gave all my gratefulness when I arrived with all these people on the woman from the city hall, and they say, no, thank you. It's amazing what you've done with our money. And she said, yes, it's true. We went from a recycling trash bin to a place where there were no house. We made the first house for the children where they could come eat, do their homework, sing, dance. We made a second house with another 100 kids and a third one. And in this horrible place where the city hall wanted to bury the trash because everything is contaminated, and all the other mountains, we gave microcredits to make little houses. There was 3 houses 25 years ago, and now how many families are living there? Guess. 20,000. When they saw what we did with their money, we built houses, and they understood that they deserved a roof, and they deserved to not live in the trash. They have the right to educate their children, that their children have the right to go to school. They can breathe good air, not trash air. They have a right to not die in the contamination of the trash. They can live for a long time. They build a little house, and all the agriculture came to live in the trash. So the alcoholic diminished, the violence diminished, and the city hall from this place got more money to build a huge house for more children to come. So this trajectory of a budget from a city hall in the south to a city hall in the north. To not lose the north, think about the south. To don't lose your mind, think of the south. And the happiness that it comes from helping, I receive it every day. I spent 17 years being on a nonprofit. I couldn't even imagine making money on the back of poor people. Finally, I took the minimum to live, and it was logical because I've worked day and night all this time. There's only 3-4 salaries. Most people are volunteers, and 100 of the money goes back for the children and the families of all our projects there. We have more than 50,000 people every year. Coco say how many people were helped? 50,000 in Bolivia and 50,000 in Kilo. In the mines, it's horrible. They're not on cars. There's no protection where I lived for years. It's hell on earth. I saw the minister of the foreign affairs in Belgium. I had them all sing with the conference. And the minister told me, but you speak what? The Potosi. And I showed her a book. Look at this little boy who's pushing a cart. Little one. So I showed him this book. It's all black and white of the mines in Potosi. This book. Every day is night there. There's no light. People die today still. So we found ourselves in Africa from a woman who had a prize. She got the agriculture woman prize, and she asked if I could help, and we became friends on the phone, and we gave microcredit to all the women in Kivu. If you don't know where it is, many people don't know. It's in the east of Republic Democratic of Congo, and there was a genocide of 1 million women raped and destroyed in their feminine genital place, and no one knows about this. Why destroyed in their genital organs, so that where they live in the mines, there be no more children, and then they kept a possession of the Chinese, the French, and the American. They can just go and serve themselves. So we started to give microcredit to all these women, and we helped 50,000 people in Vivu. So 100,000 last year. It's a man who's pushing a cart of 2 tons. He's pushing inside the mines. At the instant where I'm speaking, there's a man like that who's speaking half naked because it's very hot, and he's pushing 2 tons cart, and all the buildings, the businesses around don't care. They make hardly anything, and the children go help these men that at 30 years old, they're sick. They have silicose in the lungs. They die. He was dying, couldn't breathe. 30 years old, 33 years old, in average they die. The children saw this, and they could imagine they could change this, so they're ready to do everything. So with the children, there's no functioner. No, it's not about money. They keep working. We have the talent show all night long. They shared everything they could do, who they could save. It was very long to bring solidarity because they didn't have any example of that. But because I lived there and I was an example for them, they believe, oh, I'm their mommy. And when I arrive, there's thousands of people who kiss us, who take us in their arms, because one day somebody fell. The chair broke. She was taking her breakfast. All is okay. What was I saying? You were telling a story. Children had to learn. She was showing an example. Because there are many non-profit organizations and UNICEF, but they talk a lot about education. They can talk about all they want and all our good intentions. But until it's not concretely shown, it's just blah, blah. We can have all the good intention of a great education, but how do we realize this? Oh, sorry. I left. What would be very beautiful, Marianne, you can show the film of the 3 human beings. It's a beautiful film.
Oui. Mon ami, quand j'entendais à la radio ou à la télévision des
When I heard on the radio about war, I was haunted by this, that there's people suffering. And I came near the lake and I was 15. I said, as long as there's children who are hungry and suffering, I cannot rest.
Para cada una arreglar su situación. Elle va faire des blouses et des tabliers. Blouses, ça c'est fantastico. Tiens, mamita. Les réunions de microcrédit, il n'y avait pas de guichet à la banque. C'était toutes les femmes ensemble qui disaient
all the women together said how we're going to do this so we don't die. We left from this feminine power. We have life in us. We are infinite. The world belongs to us. We can give everything. When we give everything, we receive everything. We've helped 1,700,000 because each one would transmit to the next. So we help you, but you have to find 3 poorer than you in the mind and go help them. And this is how they did it.
Señora, no sea indiferente, se mata a las mujeres en la cara de la gente.
Lo hizo pasar como un suicidio, que mi hija se había matado. Ella tiene un hijo.
My daughter killed herself. She shouldn't have left her child. So what do? Justice. We have to look inside. You have a huge country. You have the infinite. Freedom doesn't exist on the outside. Giving a space to liberate inside freedom. There was 300 children drugged, drinking. How do we underestimate the immediately powerless of the living dead children? No, he is not dead. He became an ID specialist of the foundation. In 25 years, Voix Libres is 2 million.
C'est magnifique à chaque fois.
So beautiful each time. So moving. So beautiful how you created this model, holistic model. You help all the society. I think I speak to the inside child. It was Picasso that said, at 10 years old, I painted like Raphael, and it took all life for me to paint like a child. I speak to the prisoners too when I tell them freedom outside doesn't exist. I was very mad to shake them so they would create solidarity micro businesses. In this prison, what happens? I'm going to tell you. I told you, my friends, you are killers, ill men or men of peace. Silence. And she said, I see you like peace men, but to arrive there, we have to do a game. The next day, with the teams, we brought empty plastic containers and all these men. So what makes violence? Your minds do. So you're gonna put them in the water. You're gonna clean your hands, and when they'll get clean, you'll be purified. Cathédrale is a spiritual dimension that's very important. It's a sacred way. We release, we liberate our pain, our difficulties, our chaos to the universe. We release it, And everybody does that. And these men, after, there's about 50 of them that wanted to become men of peace. And this group began in these 7 prisons where the men wanted to think about speaking, talk. Yes, I did this. Yes. Let's make a step forward if you did that. If you had a hard childhood who were beaten, step forward. So that means that it's very touching that men who at one point in their life were really bad and killed someone or stole, they can get rehabilitated and not be victims again. We were 2005 men in the group of men of peace, and only 5 out of all this committed crime again, out of 2000. Inside the men is good. Let's not exaggerate, because when I tell them, if you really work with the worst of the worst, the one who killed, it's not easy. Most of them have the one who have killed there that do it again. That's really hard. There was 5 children that were. It was a city of goodness where it's the children who direct with alimentation, with games, with homework, with helping each other. They decide all this. The children. It's the city of goodness. What was I saying? I was talking about these 5 children in this city who were the children of a beautiful woman named Giovanna that we know for many years in the trash bill. Her husband killed her with a tool, killed her in the night, and we took the 5 children quickly. We have 65 children. Most of them saw this woman killed. I saw all the terrible woman but I can let you imagine, what does it mean? It's because of this violence that we created all this, because it's when we're into suffering and what's unbearable, the worst horror, it gives us ways to create something new, resourcefulness. It was 2 days ago that she died. Only 2 days that the children are there. One had his birthday, Ronald. And Ronald had joy in his heart. He left the violence of the father who beat the woman who tried to strangle her 3 weeks ago. He didn't realize that his mom is dead. I don't say it's the miracle, but the faculty of the child to get over what's horrible with other children who also have lost their mother, because they're together. It works because it's education that's collective, that brings together not the quality, not the good hope of education, but that puts together the depth of the sorrow of the pain and the right to exprimate it so it doesn't happen again, and the right to become a leader and a lawyer to save the others. In the trash, there's 155 children who do homework every day. And Carlos, the one that didn't kill, he said, they all want to be lawyer one day, because we create a big house for 40 women who are going to become lawyers. And we had a lot of support for this, for all these women. And they're women who lived abuse, rape, who saw their mother killed or who survived themselves, who are so motivated. So they're going to succeed in their studies. We thought in doing the exam, there's only 3 who didn't succeed on 40. I'm stupefied. To see how this motor of suffering is a proactive motor. I'm looking for the right word. Protagonist. I am a carrier of voice. I don't complain. I don't talk about fatalities. I'm a protagonist. I am a defensor of justice. And I speak of human rights to the children. I had the prize, the International Prize of Human Rights, but it's the children who taught me about human rights. And they showed me how much they lacked of rights. On the International Charts of Human Rights, there's not even written the rights that don't have the poorest. We don't say that we have the right to breathe. Do you think in the back of the mind you breathe, you smell arsenic, or in the trash, do you think you smell? Or if you live in a dug hole in the trash, because at least my dad won't beat me or kill me. So do you think that's the right to live? So it's the reflection, the negative reflection of a world that is more positive than the positive word per se. Because the collection education and the sharing of the suffering, talking about the suffering, created a new model of society. I didn't say that 2-3 years ago, but two things. There's no outside development, social and economic, if there's not an inside development. What's inside? So you have walk in this tree of life that goes from your legs. How strong are you? So we have a strong foundation. We have rights. We have the right, about 50 employees in Bolivia. And then you have your belly with all the organs. So how do we put all these organs together? If it's not together, if your liver is not talking to your soul, or something that is if your emotions are not exprimated, you're going to deprime. And if you stay on emotions that are sad, but then it changes, so you can hold on to these emotions. We have to transform these emotions that are passings, that are going to create deep feeling, that are going to make a difference, that is going to concretely help people with love. And then your voice, how are you going to exprimate? That's why in all the projects in Voix Libres, we start with music. They have instruments to have the rhythm of the heart that survives. And then come in a new consciousness to all the third chakra, the coronal. So there it is. So have insight to have this coherence, so that outside we have a world that is reflecting this truth of those beings and the beingness together. Outside it became a political program, a social program, where these programs are eradicated the work of the children in the mines. It took years to do this, and somebody gave me $1 million, and all kinds of donations came, and twice in my life people gave 1 million one time, and it was fantastic. So we were able to banish work in create artisanal, create wood shops, create agriculture. And then we had to create businesses, and health programs. In development, you have lots of programs, and then you have projects in each program. So we eradicated the work, education, training, health program, infrastructure, buildings. We have 250 houses, Voix Libres in Bolivia, programs of microcredits, especially to create work all day. What can you do? You're alcoholic in the mines, you can keep going, sure, but or would you rather do a job? So we gave him $100 and he goes, be inspired by somebody else who was to become a woodworker. And he said, look, I can give you this. And in the prisons, they do this too. You couldn't tell that it's a prison because they all work the wood. And it feels like we're in a big enterprise. And outside, they sell all their articles. And it's the women of the prisoners that sell the things they have made. I went to say, what is this? It looks like a box with holes. I don't know, she said. But it was a box to put the little money from the bus in the store. The intelligence is going faster than each person. It's really a collective intelligence. Most of them don't know anything, but together they know everything. In fact, education is to reconnect the children to what they already know.
De leur cœur, tu vois.
To their heart, to the depth of their heart, to the akashic emanations of what's inside of them. And they don't even know how to grow food. But when we play with them to grow in the countryside, in the beginning, poor people didn't have any money to buy seeds. So we started to cultivate in the city, and the children thought they didn't know, but they knew. You didn't have to how to plant cabbage, how to cut flowers, and they were all happy to do it. And they have independence with alimentation in their city, and they sell. They give it to the people. They share with all those who don't have. There's trucks leaving to go feed and vegetables. And there's a girl who said, what's a tomato? It's red like your cheeks. Oh, she never ate a tomato before. We don't eat apples, sometimes bananas, and quinoa or broken rice from China. That's horrible, not organic, and it's the worst. In the beginning, they were eating that in the mines. It's all these series of change that made new program of food. When you eat soup in the mine, it's contaminated water full of cyanure and rice not organic, and that's all you eat. Now they have big fruit campaigns. They all eat fruit, and they plant fruit trees everywhere. There's no sound. You want to talk about the serre, which is on the food level. It was a new difficulty because they didn't believe that they could make it grow, but I didn't believe. I never believed it would not work. All the limits that people told us since the beginning of my childhood, they told me, you can't do this, you can't do this. She said, I'm a true resilience example. Apparently, I had nothing to make this work, but I had everything to liberate myself. Let's not believe that there is no food possible in the mines. I went and looked, and I went to Oguru because I heard about young people who studied in engineering in that place. So I have to speak to them, that there was no solution. So I go walk on the City Hall plaza, and I sit on the bench. There was a man next to me. I started talking to him. He was at Grenoble. How do we do in altitude? If we could protect well the place, we could grow vegetables. He said, yes, I know someone, an old man, who digged a little, and he has worms, American worms, to make the earth more ready for growing. And he'd build about 1 meter depth, and you could see that there was a big compost full of worms, and I got inspired, and the vegetables grew. And we began this semi in the earth, but we dig to earth. They did for 200 meters. It was enormous, like a fairy tale. On the winter there was snow, and we almost fell. It's incredible what the children can do. They do all kinds of risk, and it became a model. So we dig 2.5 meters. We put biohumus, bricks to hold, and wood to hold with plastic, and the sun goes in, and inside it goes up to 30 degrees with humidity, with natural humidity, when outside it's 0 and less than 10 degree minus 0. And there was nothing there. Now we have 3 recalls a year of they even have strawberries and vegetables 3 times a year. It was the beginning of the agriculture project. Then we cultivated quinoa. That's a nice story too, because quinoa in Bolivia, they don't eat it. And as soon as we get interested with them and cultivate it, it became valuable in their eyes, and we nourished all the children there with the quinoa. And in the fields where they live now, near the lake, not Titicaca, but ni Salar de Uyuni, a big desert of salt, where the quinoa is growing because it needs salt earth to grow. And in the village of Hauma, I took care of the children, and a school. There was 8 children. The woodmaker made tables, everybody who could help. And when they came to see them with the house of the 100 children, they were touched. We gave microcredit so they could start to plant quinoa with 2 little houses that with engineers from Grenoble that came to help them. All the people that had left from this region who went to the bidonville in Argentina or Chile, they came back, and now they cultivate 500 hectares of quinoa, and we imported containers in a luxury market in Switzerland, and all the money goes back to them. So we could keep going, a huge production, and especially a great health, because in quinoa you have everything you need to live. And we're going to have some for lunch today. You have everything you need for your brain. What I find very touching too, many stories that you tell us, and it's so touching. But one story that we talk about vegetables is that the children who grow their own vegetables, they wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning to see the vegetables grow. Yes, I sent you the picture. They're so motivated, and they're so happy when they push a tree. They hug the tree. Oh, her name is Alicia. It's like me. She dances around the tree, and there is no trash, because if we do a big plantation in the trees, because the trees are loved, so they're going to die. But the children love their trees, and they love the vegetables. So they were all of them around and they would look with their light on their head for the vegetables to grow. And now the big project for the trees is to make comestible place everywhere. So they're gonna make villages that are nourishing on the public place. All the trees. In Bolivia, we can grow so many things. In Africa, it's mangoes, papaya, avocado. But everybody can come and serve themselves. We put a fence around so there is, we can't just take everything at once, but everybody can go feed themselves. We open the right to fruits and good food, organic for everyone. But we should maybe show the film that I sent you of the City of Goodness, where we see the children grow the food.
C'est le projet Enfants de mine.
C'est ça. C'est ça. Hein?
Ouais, on les voit aussi là-dedans.
Project of mine. Okay. Because it's in English. You see the children from the mines and then you see them cultivate.
La traduction.
Thank you. Thank you.
Trabajar por trabajar es difícil. A veces tienes que comer. Si es que trabajas, comes. Si es que no trabajas, no comes. Llegas a la casa, directo a dormir. Al día siguiente a lo mismo, a volver a trabajar. De eso por eso es mejor estudiar y estudiar hasta no poder. Uno, dos, tres. Otro, esa. Este va. Uno, ya. Dos, tres. Ya. No es algo fácil tragar la polvadera que solo tragar. Entra ardiendo, pero tenemos que tragar eso cuando salimos. Nos lavamos y sentimos algo agrio en nuestro cuerpo. Más adentro de paso que hay como lo dice acá, asna. Es un humo, es un polvo que te hace paralizar tu pie. Te lo hace paralizar tu pie y luego te quedas así tieso y te botas a un lado. Ya no puedes salir. De ahí no te sacan vivo, sacan muerto. Pues yo digo, ¿para qué trabajar más en la mina en vez que estamos estudiando y haciendo como profesionales?
Yo te necesito a ti como líder, con ese pensamiento de que estudiar lo primero que tienes que vivir aquí, que hables con los demás para que a tu hermano mismo, planificamos juntos que ¿seguro?
Oui.
Es un trato.
Alors on fait un deal.
Seguro.
On les voyait pas travailler dans cette
We
version-là.
couldn't see them work because the subtitles in English.
Travailler, mais imaginez des gamins qui sont toute la journée
And
dans leur...
imagine children that are all day in these gardens, and now they're making big gardens. So there's 10,000 trees to plant on the mountain that burned, a sacred mountain, the Tonari. They're very happy because they're going to plant more trees to reforest a wounded mountain. What I find also very passionate with you is that you put everything in practice. You don't you can't stand procrastination. You can't stand, don't talk about, just do. And as soon as I feel the enthusiasm, I get people to act right away. Yes, I'm sorry.
Parce que je fais tout de
It's
suite.
not so easy sometimes because I do everything right away. I send mails. 4 days later, I have no answer. 2 days, I have no answer. 4 days. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do all this if the people weren't proactive. There, I need a message, I answer. They ask me something, I call right away. But Cordy, that is the chief of project, and Sergio, my assistant, and I would like Isabel for also testify. But Sergio is here for 20 years. He was in Bolivia. He knows everything. It's extraordinary. He answers right away. We do things right away. We don't procrastinate. Procrastinating is dead. It's the motivation that you give to others. You inspire others to do the same. And you are kind of frustrated with our society because we wait too long and things don't happen. And you are teaching them this. Now that we're doing this show, you saw somebody call me. It was Francine, a fantastic woman who was in Romania to receive refugees from Ukraine, and so we could help them. She calls me.
Eh ben, c'est maintenant que c'est chaud.
And it's now that I have to act. I'm going to say, no, you call me Saturday. She said, as soon as the show is finished, I call you because she needs to talk to me. It's when it's hot that you're going to digest, but cold food, you don't digest it. People who eat raw won't say that, but another example, when it's alive, it's time to act. And what we don't do right away, the answers that I get back 4 days later, it doesn't mean anything. Everything is already changed. Everything is changing all the time. So it's a waste to do it later. It's just a mental work. There's a nice story to say in the moment present. It's a man who was running. He was running very, very fast on the. Why was he running? There was a lion behind him. And then there's a fall and he jumps. And luckily there was a little piece of vine and he holds on to it. He looks below and below there's a tiger. And at the moment he looks left and there's a little mouse that tries to eat the vine where he is eating. But at that moment, he sees inside, he sees little leaves. What is this? He moves the hand and there's a strawberry there. A big strawberry ready to eat. So he takes the strawberry, he put it in his mouth, and it was delicious. End of story.
C'est fini.
Oh.
Et notre vie, c'est comme ça.
And our life is like that. There's mouse, there's tigers, there's lions. If there's a strawberry, eat the strawberry and you can be happy. There's always a strawberry. And you offer many, many strawberries of the children in the tunnel. Do you want to share with us what happened in the tunnel when you spent a few days or weeks with them? I remember that I told myself I never saw something as horrible to see with my eyes at midnight with 100 children that are hungry, that are thirsty, that are drinking and that are drugging themselves. Horrible alcohol at 90 degrees in a craziness forgotten by everyone. This tunnel is between the cathedral and the government house. So bravo. And the television from Bolivia would regularly come film the children of the tunnel. It's terrible. No one would help. So the child who took me inside where I stayed, I had them sing. They had always the smile. 10 minutes, they sang. We made theater. They wanted me to help them. So I made a contract with them. Okay, I can come. You can write things. They didn't know how to write, but they had a little booklet. And I told them, notebook. We're going to make a law. We're not going to steal. We're not going to lie. We're not going to. She said, okay. I didn't believe, but I pretended as if I believed them. When you're an artist, you pretend to be angry, but you're not really angry. And as soon as you do the movement of the anger, you're living it. That's why theater is so important and all the arts. So we signed the contracts with the kids, just like that. There was Carlos, there was big leader, there some became baker, marshal foreign in the agriculture, another one became a music teacher. And I lived Providence. A few days later, I called the protection help, and I talked to the one, Madame, I would like to talk to you about the tunnel because I would like to have rights to work there. I don't have any rights. So she invited me. I went there. She said, but you need a lawyer. So I found the best lawyer in Bolivia, who is responsible for the human rights. He came in a minute. She had a lawyer. We made all the paperwork we needed to do. In Bolivia, normally you need months. And she said, why are you doing this so fast? Marianne, I do it right now because it's my last day as a responsible of this service. Monday, I go work in UNICEF. If I had waited, if I procrastinated, I might have been in prison to help them with that right. They wouldn't have been saved. And here I gave them a possibility. Either you come with me in Voix Libres or you stay. And many children came. We got them all out. I bought a house, not expensive. It was a little house. I didn't have a lot of money. It was 20,000. But they were very happy in this house. But there was an earthquake at one time, and the house broke, and the children, their room fell in the rocks. The next day, I took the plane. I don't wait 3 days. I don't go. I have meetings. I'm not going to change my things. Of course, no. I go to help them right away. What could we do? Fix the house, put them in another place. Everything is, it's not that it's urgent, but there's only one present moment. It is now. When you are with these children that lost their children or lost their mom, what do you tell them so that they find this faith in them? For these children that lost their mom killed with a hammer, like, or the week before, the guy broke her the face in 5 places. She doesn't know how he beat her. I send them poems about death, magnificent poems. I can send you if you want. It's a prayer from Saint Augustine. Don't cry if you love me. An Indian poem says, dead aren't dead. The dead are the whisper in our water, in our trees, and the bird that you hear. And also she has beautiful poems, so she sent them the poem. They printed them and he read it to the children. They prayed, they meditated together. Same with the elder people in the beginning in the trash bills. There was an old woman who was dying. We thought she was made out of cardboard. She was so skinny and laying in her box. It wasn't a box. It wasn't a house. It was like and all the children came to be with her while she was transitioning, and we sang her a pretty song, hallelujah, sang, the children sang beautiful, and she died. And she said it's us that took her to heaven. When you have the little ones in your hands and when you sleep with them first nights, say maybe that it's true that when in the trash wheel I found a little girl who was very cute, and I don't know why we left her there, so I took her. She slept with me. You have a child who's lost, broken, a real trash, and you give them a shower and a nice pajama, and they're beautiful again. And she slept with me. And the next morning, she peed in the bed. I waited for her to wake up. She smelled it. I didn't say anything. She said, "You say you peed in the bed." And the other one, I tell them secrets in their ears. She was talking about, there was her little sister that I took in the trash field too, because the fire tried to kill the woman too. And she said it was horrible, this violence. What are you going to do? Whisper in her, you're going to be a lawyer. And she's a lawyer today. And what's positive message you tell the child? But not general information, but in your arms, in your ear, what you whisper when you're looking at them. Gabriel that we rescued, who was really abandoned. His father said he wasn't my kid. The mother didn't want him to. The stepfather didn't want him to. When the father don't want when they're not sure it's them, they throw the kid away. Now he's the one doing the videos today. Sergio is the responsible in Voix Libres for administration. He had welcomed him and he made a prayer. And in the morning, he still had his hands like this. And today is one of our biggest leaders. It doesn't take long to save the life of someone. These children that we received in Potosi, I put them in circle with the team to please get on their knees in front of the children to wash their feet. They couldn't believe we watched them. They were beaten all day long, and somebody is now washing and cleaning my feet. There's one that even did on purpose. He fell from the bed so he would broke his arm. And I thought it wasn't by accident, because then he would sleep with us in our bed and we took care of him. All this is also testifying. Sergio's not there. He's not with me, but I would ask him to speak. But he was here in the beginning, but he's not here anymore. I would like Isabelle, who's here for eight years now. She has made a whole path, 8 years, to free herself, and she's helped and formed at least tens of volunteers that are trained by Isabelle. Isabelle is a volunteer. She's a great responsible of the shop and the artisanat. And she teaches Tai Chi and Qigong. She has a lot of strength and courage, and I admire her a lot. Tu veux nous expliquer what touches you? How do you see this incredible progress there? It's 8 years that I'm with Voix Libres now, that I've helped and discovered the women of Bolivia, and I take care of the art. And when we sell the art, I tell the story about all these women who made it with all this love that they put in the art. And when the clients come, I tell the story the Voix Libres of what these women have left and how they reconstruct themselves doing the art. And at the same time, it nourishes me because I tell myself they were so lost in a dark hole in the back of the cavern that they were able to put light in their lives. That it helped me to open, to go in my life. And as Marianne says, it's like this, you have to act right away, not in weeks. When you decide to do something, it's now. And I learned this with Marianne and many more things. And Marianne also took me out of my hole, my own fears, and my alcoholism. With the sounds, I was able to find my voice and free myself from the bottle. And when I'm not good, I have my voice. I can use my voice to feel better. How long did it take you with the voice to get out of the bottle? One time. That's what happens with most people. In one workshop, I couldn't take my voice, and Marianne asked me to find a symbol, and I saw a broken bottle in my diaphragm, and I thought, alcohol is going to kill me one way or another. And when I realized that, I could let out the sounds, and from that day, I stopped drinking. Can you explain a little bit when you let this voice out, what happens? And maybe the technique?
Marianne, au début, elle nous fait des exercices pour déjà qu'on découvre notre...
First, she gives us exercise to find the cathedral in our mouth. And she teaches us how to open our mouth, that we do together. And to open our mouth, she gives us a cork, so we keep our mouth open. Because it's true that in life, we have mostly our mouth closed. We don't dare to say things, to express, and to get the sound out. We have to go inside of us to go find it. It's not just like, we go inside us and we go look for that sound in the bottom pit of ourselves. And the first time I made a sound, I didn't even hear it. And she said, you went in the real high sound. And she said, I never thought I could do that. And each time we practice sound, getting sounds out, we get trauma out of us without knowing it. For me, it has moved me along on the path. One time I took a friend to Marianne, and he had a voice very, very high. It was a man, 45, 50. And Marianne made him walk, sang, and he came back with a really deep bajo. His wife started crying, and he couldn't even realize he had this voice inside him. It's so moving, this grace of receiving this, to know I can do this. It's so enlightening that things get in place another way. It's not with our words, it's really with the sound that we liberate. We get out things that we could have never said with words. And we can't cheat with this. It's interesting because Marianne, who everybody's listening, Marianne organizes workshops everywhere. She goes in many, many places. She's been to Taiwan, Korea, South Korea. She goes everywhere to work with groups. even big business leaders with 200 people, and you liberate the voice of the people. And I saw it myself. When you sing, people are ready right away. You get us ready, and here you are, and everybody sings, and nobody's scared. It's extraordinary what you make possible. This big yes. Okay, here we go. We overcome. We jump over our shadow, and we sing. And now we're going to be able to do a big meeting in top of the Mont Blanc with 1,000 people who sing. We maybe don't have to go to the top of the Mont Blanc, but we can.
Je peux dire quelque chose?
Mais oui.
Lucy wants to say if she can speak. First, thank you. Enormous thanks. I met you in a Visio summit as well. Beyond all the story that you're sharing today and what you shared, you made a whole crowd sing in 2 minutes. There was a connection that happened with so many people. And I remember this song because I sing it regularly. And you were talking about, I remember because I recorded it, and you were talking about the little Indians who sing that. And it's so powerful, this song, this chant, and she had stopped at the earth, and she wanted to hear the other elements. I'm so happy to be with you. It's very impressive what you, Alegria, she celebrates. So what I'd like to say, if it makes you want to participate, welcome, because the more we are, the best it is. It's true that what we need today, it's to become a godmother or godfather to these children, and it's free. It's Voix Libres. So if you want to become a godmother or godfather to a child, you write us, you send a letter, and you can become for 10 euros a month, whatever you want. And it's free. You can start when you want. You can stop when you want. And it makes an egregore bigger and bigger. Or to plant trees, it's the same. We need thousands of trees now. Come see us in our shops in Strasbourg or in Geneva. Or online, you can also buy things online, and all the work made by the woman. And each time we invest in someone, to each child that you take out, you tell them you're going to get 5 other kids from the mind. And to the woman, you're going to say you're going to help 3 women. And this is why it's spreading so fast. Here, Marianne, you didn't say, but when you take the children, you take them from 1 minute, you tell them, you're magnificent, you're unique. Yes, there's only you like you. You're unique. There's only you like you. That's Marshall Rosenberg. And you give them this, and this love that you offer them, and you become their mommy right away. And it carries them all their life. It gives them trust and faith. I can tell you, I thank you very much, because I know that you're a godmom too, and you can imagine it's Gabrielle who does these films. We can show this last film, and then we will just have 5 minutes for question and answers. That's the lawyers, the film of the lawyers. Gabrielle did this film, and she's the one. You can imagine that you're the godmother to this child. He does incredible pictures for Voix Libres. So we showed this film. Yes, I tell you, I didn't even realize how long it was to work on this situation with women and children, because every day we do this. It's been 15 years that we do this in the schools where the where the little girls become leader. How do we help them become leader? They do talking circles without the men, the boys alone, for that they take conscious of their freedom, that they have to speak. The little lawyers, and now we have big lawyers. These are the little lawyers, girls.
Si vous portez des lunettes ou des lentilles,
If you
un médecin récompense
carry lens in your...
Non, c'est pas celui-là. C'est pas le bon film.
Non,
It's not the one.
Le film, celui-là, c'est pas le bon.
No, she said that's not the one.
Ça, c'est pas le bon.
C'est pas le bon, c'est les petites avocates.
Claro.
Changé.
I was there, but it changed.
Oui, oui, c'est ça.
And she told Isabel that she did a great job too. What she said.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel.
El proyecto Abogaditas Rurales es un proyecto integral donde pretendemos mandar a la escuela a las niñas, después líderes en sus comunidades. El proyecto Abogaditas Rurales también pretende tener un centro de acogida para aquellas chicas que pretenden ser profesionales. En el campo, estudiar cuesta más de 350 bolivianos por hijo, cuando el ingreso mensual por familia no pasa los 300 bolivianos. Apostamos a que estas niñas vuelvan a soñar y rompan ese círculo de esclavitud y de violencia.
Me llamo Adelaida Fernández y estoy estudiando aquí en la escuela Churitaca. Cuando sea grande, quiero ser médico. Cuando yo ya sea profesional, puedo venir a mi comunidad a ayudar.
Porque este proyecto es capital, porque vemos que no es justo que los niños, niñas tengan que vivir en pobreza, miseria, violencia, por el hecho de nacer en zonas marginadas por la distancia en Cochabamba, Bolivia. Es lamentable ver cómo muchos niños, niñas, solo tengan que conformarse con leer, escribir, a lo mucho terminar primaria. Pero lo que queremos con este proyecto es darles la oportunidad, darles esta alternativa para que estos jóvenes, estos niños puedan salir de este círculo de la pobreza y miseria.
El proyecto de Pequeñas Abogaditas será de gran impacto en la vida de ellas, porque pasarán de ser olvidadas y destinadas a la explotación y a la violencia a un gran cambio en sus vidas. Ellas podrán demostrar con su liderazgo que la violencia no es normal.
Como médico de la Fundación, quiero aportar con este proyecto, brindando herramientas, cambios de vida, respetando sus culturas, sus costumbres y su forma de vivir. Quiero que estas personas se interioricen en temas muy básicos, como ser la planificación familiar.
Y así, ellas van a poder ser líderes, emprendedoras y van a estar libres de violencia.
Ouais. Marianne, on va pas aller jusqu'au bout parce que c'est, comme c'est en France, c'est en espagnol.
We're going to go to the end because it's in Spanish. English people can't hear anything. You can tell them that's all the work to create a new generation of women who can defend themselves, be protagonists and not victims. The level of life is much harder than the level of life there's a whole level of help to help them become leader. And we spend much here so they can have a school bag with 10 francs for 1 year with all the material in it. We put 30,000 children to school 3-4 years ago. Marianne, do you still want to share how much Voix Libres has impacted Bolivia all the way to the government? That's the little lawyers. And now we have a real school of Bolivia with 40 women who are going to become lawyers, and then they'll be judge and magistrate. And often the lawyers are corrupt. No. So the minister is working with Voix Libres, with the government that are asking to train to non-violence the people from the chief of the police in Bolivia that are making them sing and dance, and to personal development that sensibilize them to the victim. When the woman comes, and my husband tell me, and they say, well, where's the marks? And they send them again, and 2 weeks later she's killed. And now the woman knows how to defend themselves. The police come, they can see big change. The genocide of women has changed in half because the police is now listening to when the women come and complain. Mercedes is a little girl that I met in jail when she was 12 years old. She's now the best lawyer, one of the best lawyers in Bolivia, and who directs this and who signs with all the mayors, all the police, and all the military formed to non-violence. And I see the babies that I rocked who are now, first is to kill and next is to hit. It's the worst. We should make a movie with you, Marianne. From getting all these people from the mines, what happened from the businesses? Where do they find the workers? If I thought that the business would not be happy, but I never thought about it. What has happened? And she said, I never worried that the people wouldn't be, say, nobody puts sticks in wheels. She said, I have no sticks and I have no wool. And he said the businesses don't try to evaluate and do things other way, but they're also parents and they're also sensible. The child becomes more than the child. It reunites everyone because everyone has an inner child and real children that in really they want to protect, and they go away from this idea that they should exploit the children. It's just the children, they go help a little bit, but it's not real employees in general. With all our information to the businesses, there's no worries. We get at the end of it. It's so extraordinary. Thank you so much each time. It's a benediction when you speak to us. It's so logical and it's so beautiful. With the most poor, one woman leader. You're a little bit like Gandhi. You're changing the world. Now it's to us to take example in you, and you're a model that is working, an extraordinary model. You're adorable. Thank you. Changing the world is a big world. We are enchanting the world, whether it's in Africa or in Bolivia. We're enchanting people. There was a man who's responsible of a political council. He was almost in tears because he said, you're the only ones that recognize there's been a genocide and the only one who are daring to help. And somebody spoke into a book, Capitalism is Explained to My Little Girl, and he talks about Voix Libres when there's non-profits saving millions of women. We ask for microcredits and who keep children to die in those mines. What I find magnificent, Marianne, is what when the voice is free inside, it manifests outside. It's the expression of this. A free voice manifests a free world. Thank you for organizing this summit. I thank each three of you to be active and to translate so well. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. We're going to translate words now. We're going to change.
Merci.
Merci.
Non, mais viens me voir, venez nous voir à Genève ou à Strasbourg, et puis à Genève, c'est derrière la gare, c'est facile. Et puis le site, c'est voixlibres.org pour ceux qui veulent regarder comment faire pour participer, mais très volontiers, bienvenue à tous.
Merci.
Merci.
Merci. Coco, je te laisse 30 secondes la main, parce que je vais
D'accord.
m'occuper de l'autre ordinateur à côté, ok?
D'accord, ça marche.
Il y a des questions, c'est ça?
C'est juste pour passer la transition, là.
D'accord.
À bientôt, Marianne.
À bientôt. Merci.
Christina, bist du da? Ju, ahoi Nicola, ahoi Christina.